Hello, and welcome back to an episode of The Joy of Painting Middle-earth. I'm Timbo Took, and I'm happy you've joined me. Now, in today's painting, we're going to do a very fun place. It's the Forbidden Pool. That's right. You may remember it from the stories. Oh, Mr. Frodo and my Grandgaffer Gamgee, they were traveling, trying to get to the Black Gate, going through Gondor. And who should find them but Faramir? And they found old Mr. Smeagol, you know, Gollum. Yes, he was swimming in the Forbidden Pool, and that carries the penalty of death. And Mr. Frodo had pity on him and stopped them from killing him, but he got him captured, and that put the ring in jeopardy. But we're not going to go farther than that with the story. Today we're going to be painting the valley that the Forbidden Pool was in. So, what I've done is you can prepare the canvas by painting it with a black gesso, an acrylic black paint. You put it down and let it dry. But I cheated today. I bought it at the Hobbit lobby. That's right. You can buy a black canvas, same as a white canvas. Sometimes it's a little easier. Sometimes if I don't have one, I just paint my canvas black and then I get going. But if I have one, I'll use that. And what I've done, I've covered it with a liquid clear. That's right. It's just going to make our canvas a little wet. And I've also gone in and put a little blue and black up top. There you go. That's where our sky is going to be. But it's going to be night. So let's get into it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of my titanium white. And again, I've got my colors here. Titanium white, this is a marine blue, sap green, burnt umber, and ivory black. And there's a lemon yellow. And I can't remember which red it is. It doesn't really matter. You can use them all. They're very good colors. Whatever you want to do. It's your world. It's your painting. Now, we're going to go up. And as I said, I've already put down some black and some blue. Mix it onto the canvas. You can't really see it yet. So if you're going to be painting for family and friends and you do this, it's going to look quite impressive. But you just decide there's going to be moonlight in this picture. So this is where our light is going to be coming through. You start there with your white and you work your way out. That's right. Work your way out and you'll see it pick up that blue. Picks up that blue as you come out. There we go. There we go. And you'll see that's going to create some highlights and shadows through your sky. As I said, this is a nighttime sky. Come back into your white and go right there in the center, right back to that original spot. And work your way out. That way you're leaving that one bright spot that you can work out of for your moonlight. There we go, and just bring that down. You'll have some things going right in front of these parts of the clouds. There we go. Now, I'm going to clean off this brush. I wash it in odorless paint thinner. And again, today I'm painting inside the hobbit hole, so I can't just beat the Sauron out of the brush right on my easel like I like to do if I'm painting out in the Shire. But I have a trash bin. I just beat it down there right inside of that, and I knock off all that odorless paint thinner. Now, we're going to come in. We're just going to soften this back up. We're just going to soften it back up. There we go. And this is going to make a beautiful nighttime sky for us. And you can just go over it gently, take out those brush marks. There we are. Now, if you want to add a moon in your picture, a fun way to do it, do a little bit of finger painting, just like we were little hobbits. Just get some of that white. There we go. Just on the tip of your finger. Come back up where that moon was. And just put that circle in. There we go. Now it doesn't have to be perfectly white or perfectly round. The moon never is. There we go. Now you have to clean off your finger. I don't recommend beating the Sauron out of that. It might hurt. So I'm just going to go over to one of our towels and I'm going to wipe it off on that. There we are. You get a painter's hands. They're usually messy and full of color. That's fine. All right. Now we've got our sky up there. We're going to come in and we're going to make some areas where some clouds are going to be. Now remember, at night, sometimes these clouds will be very dark in color. Just pick up a little bit of our white. Maybe some of our blue. And we'll go back and highlight them. But for now, we take that dark and we're going to come in just with our fan brush. Just make circles here. There we go. Wherever you think they're going to be. And sometimes if you want it to appear breezy, just pull it straight across, as if they were moving quickly, like they had somewhere to be. There we are. Just make those little circles. Maybe this one just stretches across. Hides the moon a little. There we go. Let's go back up, pick up some more of our color. And we'll come here. Some clouds can be bigger than others. Some little wispy clouds. Whatever you want to do. It's your world, your painting. It's your Middle Earth. There we go. There we go. Maybe some more right here. There we are. Let these clouds just being blown by the breeze. This way and that. This way and that. There we go. Now, that's good. What I'm going to do, I'm going to clean off that fan brush. Now, well, I'll set that off to the side. And now I'm going to come in with my 1-inch brush. And I'm just going to soften the bottoms of these. There we go. Just soften them up. Just little circles with the corner of the brush. There we go. Okay, now we're just going to come back. Well, you know what? I think we're going to pick up some moonlight and highlight these clouds. So, come back. Maybe a little bit of blue there. There we go. That looks good there. So, where the moonlight hits these on the bottom, it picks up some of that moonlight. There we go. Just let it pick up that light. Bring it along. Bring it along with it. And I'm just taking some blue, putting a little into my white. Coming up here. Just tap it on there. There we go. A little more. Just pick that up with a brush. I always like these nighttime paintings. I like to travel by night in the woods. Some people don't like to do that, but I always think you meet some interesting creatures. A lot of them sleep during the day, and then it's the nighttime when they come out. Just pick up that. If the clouds are underneath the moon, you're going to pick up the top edge. If the clouds are above the moon, you guessed it, you pick up the bottom edge. It's not too hard. Not too hard at all. You just tap it in there. There you go. There we go. Now we'll come back and we'll soften those up. Take our 1-inch brush. Okay, I tapped it a little bit on the podium, or the easel. I tapped it a little bit there, but I wasn't making that just fly all over like I would if I was outside. Okay, now that we have our highlights, let's take those, just those little circles, soften them up just a hair. Just a hair. There we go. Light as hair, just a hair. There we are. Oh, clouds are my favorite, whether it's during the day or in the evening, at night. They always make interesting shapes in the sky. They give it some personality. There we go. All right, now just lift those clouds. Be the breeze. The breeze that lifts them and pulls them and sees where they're going to go. There we go. That just softens them up a bit. And then come back. For this, I'm going to grab my 2-inch brush. And I'm just going to lightly soften. Lift, 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 lift. Just a little. And then soften that out. There you go. There. And there you have a nice nighttime sky. Now, but things underneath will be a little bit darker. They'll come in here, so what we're going to do is we're going to take some of our blue, mix that right into our black. There we go. Now, maybe, just a touch of this red. This is a bright red, so you don't want too much in there. But you just want to bring it down so it gives our color a little shade of violet. Maybe just a hair more. There we go. Now, there we go. Just take a little roll of paint on your paint knife, and we're going to put just some clouds, and not clouds, sorry. We already put the clouds. We'll just put some mountains back here. Mountains that just run away into the distance. There we go. Just given the shape of the outside now. And this is a valley. And in our valley, the mountains move away from us. They have their own stories. There's things going on there. We know our story about Mr. Frodo and Smeagol and Faramir. We don't know what's going on, what story's going on in these mountains. But as that valley gets closer, those mountains maybe get a little taller. Oh, pull him up. And maybe that mountain just keeps going right off our canvas. We don't know where he's going. We don't know his story. We're just going to put him back there so you know that there is a story going on. There we go. And just pull these mountains right down into your painting. Just leave that top edge. There we are. There we go. Pull that down. There we go. We're just giving ourselves some background there. And then we'll have some trees and things that come in here too. Maybe there's, you can see a little bit of a mountain range back here. What's going on, we don't know. Oh, those mountains, they just go on and on. On and on back there. There we go. And we're gonna just pull some of that color back off. Pull that right off. That gives our mountain some shape, some rocks, some edges. Gives the mountain story. Now, these mountains that are far off into the distance, so we can't see them, all the details on them as much. So we just kind of want a little bit of a, we're not doing a bright white snow. Maybe we just get this bit of gray here on our brush. And then let's just tap it on. Tap it on. Sometimes we do this with a palette knife. Sometimes we do it with a brush. Just to give our mountains some highlights and shadows. You can pull them a little. Then if you want, you can come back and use the palette knife and give them a little more of their own story. There we go. Now just, we can take some of that light color and just lose it in some mist there. Just lose those mountains in the mist. Those ones that are in the back, don't forget them. They say, me too, I've got a story to tell. I've got a story to tell. There we go. There we go. Now, we're going to come back. Let's clean off this brush real quick. There we go. Now, we've done a little bit of work on those mountains, but there's going to be some mist. Just tap this white in, let it mix with the colors that are there. Now that you've laid some of that down, just clean off your brush and come back in and really diffuse this. There we go. Maybe it makes those mountains a little harder to see. That's why we didn't spend so much time on those. Go back to our 2-inch brush, and we're just going to lift. Just turn that into a misty valley. And just come across. Now this mist lets some of those mountains off in the distance. You can still see the tops of those. Mix this down. There we go. But now we need some of our own trees. Some of the trees in our story. It's time to get to our story. Okay, now that we've got our background in there, let's come to our story. We're just going to take this small fan brush. We'll come in just some sap green and our black. Just darken this up. And this is our color we used on the mountains. So there's some blue, there's a little tiny bit of red in there. So it's not a flat black color. But load it up on that brush. Load it up. Now we're going to put some trees back here. Just give yourself a trunk to follow. And then just little zigzags down the tree, getting bigger and bigger as you come down. Go up, let's give it another one. Let's give another here. You don't have to bring that trunk all the way down, just enough to start you off. There we go. There we go. And these trees are kind of caught up in the mist as well. Some more of that color. Maybe this one comes a little higher. There we go. This is just giving us a little bit of a story in the back. Backdrop for our story, not the story that's going on in the mountains back there, but for our story. There we go. Just put that in, just put those trees in, just bring them right down into our story. Right down into our story. Just give yourself a line to follow. Get some paint on your brush, and just with the corner of that fan brush, just zig and zag and zig and zag and zig and zag, and then you just go zag and zig and zig and zag all the way down. Bigger strokes as you go. Fuller trees at the bottom. Fuller trees at the bottom. Let that, bend that brush, let that just hang down there. Now, if you want to make it appear there's more and more back there, give yourself a little bit of some sloppy lines. Just remember to go back. Go back and fill that brush up. There we go. Just tap them in. Tap them in. This is one of the techniques that Bob Ross the Blue taught me. Oh, you know Bob Ross the Blue Wizard? Oh yes, he would come to the Shire and teach us how to paint when I was just a small hobbit. Wonderful man, Bob Ross the Blue. Wonderful wizard. Although I haven't seen him in a long time, it makes me a little sad. Oh, it's been almost 25 years since I saw Bob Ross the Blue. But we honor him by painting like him. That's what we do. There we go. Just give ourselves some trees back here. What they're doing, we don't know. Just let them, as they get further and further back, just lighten up. That's right. That's what painting helps you do. Painting helps you lighten up. There we go. Maybe there's a tall one right there. A little more definition on him. Now, you could spend all day putting these trees in the back here, but we have other things to do. There we go. We have a story right up here, and what that story is there's a waterfall, and the men of Gondor, the rangers, they want to protect it because they have a hidden camp behind that waterfall. So that's the reason why the pool is forbidden. You don't want to go in that pool. They want to keep their hiding place secret because they're at war. So our waterfall is going to come right in here and come down, and then our pool will be down here. So let us clean off some brushes. Okay, now we're going to come back and we're going to put in our waterfall. So this blue will be a little too dark. So we're going to take some of our titanium white, just lighten that blue up, but don't lose the blue in it. We still want to be able to tell as the moonlight picks this up. And we'll come back and we'll give it some white highlights too. So here's somewhere in here there is a mountain spring. And then it gets to a point, and it's found this path, but then it comes here, and it falls right down. That's right. It falls right down to our pool. Just keep that brush stroke. Just bend it over the edge and pull it straight down. There we go. And then down here, This is where, oh, Mr. Gollum was jumping in and fetching fish. And Faramir and his men were not too fond of that. So we just put our pool in. That's right. This is the forbidden pool. Now that we've got that, we want a little bit of white that comes in here too. So, let's clean off that brush. And we're just going to come right into our titanium white. Just really load it up on the brush. There may be a little bit of blue in there, but that's okay. That's okay. We're just going to give some motion to that water. There we go. Now, as it comes here, hits those rocks and falls straight down. And just to remember to give yourself a straight down brush, just lower yourself as you do it. Don't just use your arm, use your whole body. You can use your whole body when you're painting. There we go. There we go. Now it gets down here at the bottom, and this really splashes up. And then it finds its own rocks to tumble over down here. There we go. And then it calms down as it swims away. That's right, water can swim. Did you not think water swam? I've seen water swim plenty. There we go. There we go. Now, let's take our 1-inch brush. And as this comes down and hits at the bottom, there's a lot of mist that comes off it. So the mist will come right up, and it wants to head back up to the top. March away from us. March away. If you pull it up, it can still look like it's falling down. It's coming in the same direction. There we go. Okay. Now it's time to give some land back here. We'll give some grass in here. And again, it's nighttime, so we're going to go with a dark sap green. We'll have places where the moonlight picks it up. But this valley, there are some things that happen here. It'll be lighter where the mist is, and then the closer we get to our stream, the darker the water will be, because it's a little deeper in the valley. Remember to take that down towards our stream. There we go. Now let's do the same on the other side. Over here. Oh, picked up some of that white. Just knock it off your brush. Just knock that right back off your brush. Let the dark stay in there. Make sure you don't just make it one flat color of green. There we go. And this is going to be in the background some too. We're going to have some rocks and things that come here. Okay. Now, if we want it to look like there's even more trees back in here, we're just going to come back with some white on our brush and just bend that brush up. There we go. It's just going to give even more things for the eye to look at in the back there. Gives it more shapes to the trunks of the trees. More places to get lost in the woods at night. That would be fun. That would be fun. Okay. Just come back over if you hit that in there a little too much. There we are. There we are. Maybe we start to lighten this up a little bit as it's closer to us. Now, let's give ourselves some cliffs and things, because that's what's happening. Somewhere in here, Mr. Frodo and Mr. Faramir are watching Gollum in the pool. Okay. So, come in to the brown there. Just pull it out. Get a row of paint on your palette knife. And now we're just going to come right out over the edge here. There we go. Just pull that down. Let's give ourselves, as these cliffs go marching up. There we go. Just pull them down. Let the paint break away. That dark that's underneath will give you highlights and shadows and all sorts of fun things. There we go. There we go. Bring it up some too. The closer it is to you, the higher it's going to look. There we go. Now, we're going to come to the other side, and we'll do the same thing. Okay, we'll bring a rock right up like this and down. There we go. Pull that out over the edge a bit and then down. There we go. Now, let's give some highlights on those rocks so they're not all just one color. Just come up. There we are. A little bit of moss in there. Just bring that down. There we go. Just pull that down. Let the mountain give you its shape. You don't know what the shape is. The mountain tells you. There we go. Just don't smash it in. Let it just pull that paint off. There we go. Maybe. There's some back here too. There we go. Now we'll put even a little bit of blue in there. Darken that up for a shadow. Darken it up for a shadow color. Oops, there we go. Now, this can be the underside of that rock. There we are. Just put your knife to it, pull it down. It'll create its own fun things to do. There we go. But I do think we need some more trees. Those rangers, they like to hide in the trees, so we have to give them some nice big trees to be in. So let's go into our green. Darken it up just a little. These trees will have a little more color in them because they're so much closer. Just really load that paint on the brush. Come up. There we go. Now at this point we've got a lot of paint on our canvas, and a thick paint won't stick to a thin paint. So you may have to thin it up a little bit. Then you just bring it back and forth. Back and forth. There you go. Come right over the top. Let our tree come down and get lost in this canyon here. You may pick up the colors underneath, but that's okay, they all mix together. Just give yourself the shapes of the trees down here. And these trees, we can't see all the way. We know they're there. They're reaching out into the water, trying to get a drink. Trying to get a drink. Now, sometimes you may find in your painting the paint's getting a little too mixed together. Just let that alone. You can always come in afterwards, once the paint has dried a little, and go over it with some highlights. That'll just push that right into the back, and you won't have to worry about it. Just let these trees get lost. Clean our brush up a little bit. There we go. Let's bring that in, let that color come through. A little bit more of a highlight. Right down on top. There we go. There we go. There we go. Just give yourself some foliage here. Just let it stretch out. And get lost in the black down here. There we are. Now, we're going to come and we're going to give some bushes down here. Come into our green. Maybe pick up a little bit of the yellow, lighten that green up. There we go. Now, just tap that on. Just tap it on. There we go. Give ourselves some bushes. This is where if you had on some camouflage, you could be hiding right in there. Come back with some yellow on there. Just pick up some highlights and you'll see these bushes just jump out at you. There we go. Maybe the sun's starting to rise and it's just hitting this bottom part of the valley. There we go. Now, okay, we're going to put some rocks and things down here. So we're going to come back to that brown. Come in, maybe gray it up a bit. Just mix those together on your palette. Get some titanium white, work it into there. There we go. That looks good. Now, right up to the water line are these rocks. These big rock formations. Now, don't just make it one big shape of gray. Let the rocks peek through there. There we go. Let's come over to the other side and we'll put our rocks in on this side. Just bring it right down to that water line. maybe you have a rock sticking right out of the water. There we go. We'll come back to that rock later. Now, let's give those rocks a little bit of highlight. Let's just make her a little more white. Now, we'll come in and just give those rocks a little bit of highlights to show the different shape. There we go. There we go. And you can do a smooth stroke if you want to mix it together on there. Just highlight those friends, just so you can see where you're stepping. There we go. Now, we do these paintings together. We do them quite quickly. I just want to show you that you can really do a whole painting in a little bit of time. Or if you really want to take a whole afternoon or maybe even a few days. Whoa, I guess the sun came out. You can take a few days. Some people take a few weeks. You don't have to. You can if you want. Whatever you want to do with it. Whatever you want to do. Paint your way. There we go. There we go. Now, we could call it good there. But maybe we want to test and see how stout-hearted you are. That's right. Are you a stout-hearted hobbit? If you are, let's just pick up some of that brown on our brush. And let's just throw in. Oh, we'll make this a big feller. Maybe this is the tree we're hiding behind to see what's going on. Maybe we're standing right behind this tree. It's right down here at the bottom. Maybe we've seen Mr. Frodo and Mr. Faramir up there. But we don't want to say anything. So we put this tree right here. There we go. And just give a little bit of highlight on this side. Just grab your little bit of highlight color. There we go. Right up the tree. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Just let them get lost in those bushes down there. Now, whoa, calm down there. Calm down there, Timbo. Okay, gonna take a script liner brush and let's just give this guy some branches. There we go. There we go. You may have to thin this out with a bit of the paint thinner because we have a lot of paint on the canvas. And if it's too thick, it won't stick. There's nothing wrong with being a little bit thick. I've been accused of that at times. Thick at heart, thick in head, thick in belly. All right. You can give them as many or as few limbs and branches and things as you want. Okay, we've been painting for quite a while, so we're going to leave it there for today. You can keep going if you want. If you want to call it finished, it can be finished. It's your painting. But I do want to see you back next time. Thank you for joining me on The Joy of Painting Middle-earth. I'm Timbo Took. Goodbye and God bless. Thank you for joining me on today's painting. I'm so happy you were with me. Now, if you'd like to continue to go on painting adventures with me, become part of my fellowship. And you do that by clicking that subscribe button below. Yes, and be sure to give it a like and a share. That would be oh so helpful. Now, we don't know how many of these seeing stones are unaccounted for. So we don't know who else is watching. I've got to go. Have a good day.